Welcome to Thirsty Thursday. Can you hear me okay? I knew you could. Should we start? Let's do it. Three, two, one. That's a knockout.
3, 2, 1, yeah, that's a knockout. They call me kamikaze, put you in heaven's lobby. All gas, no brakes, you can never stop me. Nah, no, you can never stop me. Yeah, cause I'm the power slap king.
Slapson, baby!
Hey, fam. All right, let's grab a can of your bevy. And remember, first we skim the top. Then we get the gutter. Then we blow. Now we're ready to consume our favorite thing. Oh, yeah. And remember, it's nothing but positivity here. It's nothing but love. We're about to get bucked up in this bitch. Remember, you are loved. You are one with the bubbles, and the bubbles are one with you. And as they sink back down into the mug of justice, we fill it back up with the bubbles of belief. Yes, sir. Welcome to Thirsty Thursday. We got to get some mugs in here, you know what I mean? With like slap sun on it or like, hey fam, something like that, you know? What a crazy week, y'all. Like I'm fucking from the South or some shit. What a crazy week. Last weekend, got some of that bubblage on me. This last weekend, we filmed all of Allie's shit, man. It was amazing. It was incredible. A lot of anxiety, a lot of hype, a lot of emotions. Look, it's been a long time coming, so I get it. And those emotions came to the surface quite a bit, actually. Look, man, sometimes as the husband, you just you let it flow. You absorb, right? But it went really well. We crew got into town Thursday, and we started to just go at it Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Maybe they got in Friday. Anyway, 3 days worth of filming, and my lady cranked out an entire education course. It's not her full brain digitized. I'm sure there'll be some updates, but man, I got to tell you, as far as like a foundation of little secrets here and there, little teachings here and there, techniques, everything from running a salon or business to the technique and education and skills to coloring extensions to coloring regular hair to the technique of how it's sewn in and all this on and on and on and on. We got that shit done. Unbelievable. We're talking like 90 ads we filmed. We're talking like 6 or 7 different course modules. And within those modules, you're talking, 2 to 5 different lessons within each module. The camera looks so on point. It was so sick. Allie looked really good. We even got tiny niece in there doing some things. As far as like getting it done where we can now take it and edit it and add some of the magic to it. It's done. It's in the can. We're good to go. And we're not quite sure what we're going to price it at yet, but I can tell you this. I could feel in the room when Allie was talking about how you no longer need to spend $10,000, $15,000, and in some cases even more to learn a technique, or even some of these weekend warrior things, which aren't bad, but even the weekend warrior techniques, no matter what the process may be, it's a couple $1,000, $2,000 to $5,000 is kind of like normal, believe it or not. And now, at least for these subject matters, it's not going to be the case. It's going to, if you're in the hair world, it's going to blow your mind. And if you're not in the hair world, just know it would have blown your mind. There's a lot of good stuff, by the way, not just hair related. She talks about running a business and a company. Obviously it's catered to salons, but there's a lot of good stuff in there that any regular business could use as well. It was funny. At one point, the people doing the filming, the film crew, and the director, he was like, "Wow, where'd you look? Like, who taught you this stuff?" And she just smiled, and she's just like, "No, nobody. I just had to figure it out." And everybody borrows a little bit here and there as they grow and get taught, and they just kind of bring it into their own. Music is a lot like that, right? Just borrow a little something and then kind of create your own styles. But know for the man, it's actually incredible because going through it all, you actually got to be reminded, oh no, she thought that up. She thought that up. She thought that up. Just trying to figure it out to see what works. And so it's exciting. We're finally like getting it out there, years in the making, a lot of fun. All that stress is now behind us. And like I said, now we just need to prep that bitch and edit it and package it and make it look, like the real deal and get it out there, launch it. We've also got a site built or it's not quite built, but we're really close to having everything in place for the hairline so we can sell that and fulfill all those wants out there. I mean, look, y'all, like I keep saying y'all, what the let's pause. Can't say y'all anymore. It doesn't feel authentic, but it does come out quick. So maybe it is authentic. But just because something's quick doesn't mean it's authentic, right? Like McDonald's is fast. Is that really authentic beef? I don't know. Hold on. Apparently y'all is my fam this week on Thursday. So anyway, fam, her hairline, we're positioned to start growing that and sell that. And look, everything is a risk. Everything has pros and cons. And this is it truly is one of the bigger things in our gut saying we need to do this, but it's also a huge risk. And it was a lot of work, a lot of effort, but it's there now. It's coming at you. It's coming down the pipeline, as I like to say. And we couldn't be more excited. It's going to be a good thing. It's funny. When I went to the bare knuckle fight the other week, Allie went and saw a psychic, and I don't know how fam feels about that, but it's just for entertainment, right? And anyway, that was fun to like dive in, and she said some things that were kind of interesting here and there about what's going to happen to Allie, what's going to happen to me, what's going to happen to our kids, let's be honest, fam, it's mostly entertainment, but still fun to hear, whether you believe in that stuff or you don't. I will never say it's not real, because look, if someone has an experience and it touches them and that helps them and motivates them or whatever the case, I'll never say that that's not real. From my perspective, I'm very much a skeptic. I'm very much like, yeah, okay. Well, I also like, podcast weekly and tell everyone about my life. You don't think she took a little peeky peek? Anyway, but it was fun because driving back from bare knuckle, she told me all about it. She was super hyped. She was super pumped. And because of that, all this last week, she's referred a bunch of the girls to go. And everyone's been talking about, what the psychics say with so-and-so, what the psychics say about who, over here, and that kind of stuff. But all good stuff, all good stuff. Boys are doing good this week. No major red flags. There's been a lot of prep for fight week coming up next week. Look, fam, I'm just going to keep it 100. Like, the DMs haven't been like blowing up. I don't have like 1,000 DMs, I don't have like 1 billion views or anything like that. But I put out a reel just saying how we're going to do Sweet Talks again, and no collaborations, nothing like that. And it got over 1,000 views on its own. And I was like, oh, that's different. That's fun. But then DMs started coming in asking about what time they need to show up. Interviews were happening after I posted it, and after each interview, not everyone, but most of them, fam, they were like, "Oh, you better get me on that Sweet Talks. I'm gonna get on that." And it's super validating because, dude, I don't know, like, it's not old. I don't think it ever will get old, knowing that you're just in your little world and people are excited about it. And you're excited about it, and you can see the growth. The goal of it all was always just to have a good time. In the beginning with all these interviews for Slap Son, I don't know how many times I said, I really felt like we brought the happy to the sport. I really do. Like, we were just us, and we're going to continue to be us. We are silly. Frankly, we've held back on a lot of the irreverent stuff. Maybe some of you that watch the pod are thinking, yeah, right. The guy said the C word 7 times on like episode 4. which that's true. But what I'm getting at is we're us. We have fun. We really do care about the people. We love the sport. Like, I took a shot of Lucas today in Babyface's shirt. Like, everyone's getting excited around here about the upcoming card. And that's real. Because if you didn't like that, then I think it would come across pretty quickly. So that's real. But we really do love the people. Got to become friends with, a handful of them and get to know their families a little bit, and that's just so fun. It's so awesome. So anyway, for this last Sweet Talks, or this Sweet Talks coming up for Fight Week, I put out that reel. It got a lot of views, especially for something I just put out on my own without collabing. Got all these DMs. Interviews started to happen, and people were saying, hey, I better get on that Sweet Talks. I better get on that Sweet Talks. Oh, most definitely. I'm coming up. And so for this round, I feel as though we'll still kind of do open call, but it's getting to the point, fam, which it's going to be different, but I think it's good, where we're going to have to start slotting in people. Last time we did it, we had just enough people to where we missed out on some interviews, and it tore me up a little bit inside, because I don't want to give up the attention I'm giving to the person I'm speaking to, but I also want to get to everybody. And we're getting better every time. And that's something we learned last time is, Robert, if you're watching, Chelsea, if you're watching, a few others, we needed more of a process. So I'm a little hesitant to just like throw out times, because it's unpredictable in the sense of, other interviews might go long. They might have something to do with the brass, the medical staff, the on and on, right? And they can't control that. So if there's a slot for them and they don't show up, I don't want them to think that they can't come up. I don't want them to think, oh shoot, I missed my time with Sweet Talks. Oh, I'm not going to go. Like, we definitely don't want that either, fam. So, but we're going to figure it out. And I think the best process is just going to be, look, we'll do it how we always do. People will come up. It's fight week, so hopefully we got some cool surprises, some big names, in the whole fight world, not just in Power Slap. For Power Slap, we're going to have all the big names. Trust on that. But you never know. And it's exciting. So I think for this time, we'll just kind of keep the method how we've been doing it. And then maybe we'll practice in New Orleans or something like that, to where it's not such a big to do with the International Fight Week. It's more of a normal, quote unquote, normal type setting. And we'll slot guys out, strikers out, to come up and talk. But I say all that to say that it's very validating. It's very exciting. Who knew? And it's proof that if you just do the thing you say you're going to do, something's going to happen. Like, it may not be a juggernaut, and it may not be like this, like, tank or failure. It'll probably be somewhere in that gray area. That's a big gray area from failure to juggernaut, but you get the idea. It's just proof that if you just keep kind of going, just keep doing it, good things will happen. And as far as like the podcast is concerned, and me and the boys are concerned, Allie's concerned, the pace is good too. It's not it's a lot, especially this last card. There's so many bouts, there's so many fights. I just couldn't get to everybody, and I hate that. But because of Sweet Talks, we can try and everyone who wants to come through, we're going to have them come through, and we're going to get to talk to them in person. And that's a good pace. And as we grow, we'll get better at it. We'll get more efficient. But it's coming up. So excited. I think we're going to get to everybody. It's going to be a long couple of days, but we're going to do it. The interviews are going to have to be shorter, like I said, so we can just be a bit more consistent, more precise. But that challenge is on me, fam. I got the gift of gab. I'm going to have to, have a timer for 5 minutes or 6 minutes, whatever it is, so we can keep people through in an efficient time, so they can go back to their day too. Look, it's a lot for the strikers to lead up to their fight. They got to make sure their weight's on point. A lot of people are cutting weight when they come up to Sweet Talks. And, it's funny. We knew that, but it didn't dawn on us till we did the first Sweet Talks. because people were coming up. We had drinks and seltzers and all this kind of stuff. And everyone, not everyone, but a lot of them are cutting weight. And they're just like, no, no, no. And I was like, oh shit, that's probably not the best idea. So the next time we just had water. But yeah, we're going to get through everybody. They might have to be a little bit quicker, but I am, if you can't tell, I'm excited about it. It's going to be so fun. We're going to be back with fam in Vegas doing our thing. International Fight Week. You never know what's going to happen. I'm going to be packing a mini mic. I'm not going to have a full on camera follow me around, but I am going to pack a mini mic in case, we happen to run into some people, get a few questions in. That'd be sick. But super excited. And we really are trying to go to the next card as well, and the next card. The biggest challenge right now with the podcast is we need sponsors, son. We need money, son, because we want to keep doing short stories, these short documentaries, like the one we did on Luke Simons, and that just costs money. It's not a crazy amount, I would say. We really do keep costs really low, but we also don't want to sacrifice the look. So the equipment's really important. We don't want to sacrifice like time. So if something needs to be filmed again or we go over, we want to make sure we can still stick around in town. And all that is cash, right? You're talking hotel rooms, food, the equipment, the travel, all that stuff. So that's what we need. So any sponsors out there, man, that can sling off, a few grand a month, that would go a long way. We're a tight ship, small production. Obviously, it's just me. And then Levi helps out when he can, and he's getting more involved, much more involved this year, which is exciting because the editing alone, fam, is just like, oh my gosh, it's so like, I shit you not, just what I have alone with Riverside, the software we use that spits out reels and stuff, dude. I bet you I've got 800 reels. No bullshit. I bet you I got about 800 reels or more, and it's overwhelming. Because it doesn't take a lot of time necessarily, but just having the podcast, doing the interviews, and editing what you can edit, you would think it wouldn't be that bad because the AI spits out a bunch for you, but you still need to go in. You need to, you need to tweak the camera frame. They might be off to the left a little bit, and then you got to move them to the center. Just recently, I experienced, shout out to Petty. She caught it and she called, offer up some advice. You even have to make sure the lips are matching up with the sound. Sometimes that doesn't happen. And so you have to do a lot of tedious stuff manually. And then on top of that, I personally like to fully listen to it all the way through, even if I think the interview was fine. There was no like, hey, we need to cut that type vibes. I still like to listen to it all the way through just to make sure. And, again, I got the gift of gab. I'm getting better, but I like to talk. So some of those interviews, they're 20, 30, 40 minutes long, and I watch every single second. And the fucked up part is I still make mistakes even doing that. So it'll be nice to have somebody like Levi, to come on board and be a bit more involved with that, to even just get backlog of reels and just get them out there to post it. Because what we're building, and we're just little babies in bare knuckle, but what we're building in Power Slap, no matter what the sport does, no matter where the podcast goes with it all, we have such a cool, just information and media and content about the sport and the strikers that can just be put out there. And that's going to be a huge help. I'm actually really excited about that. And while we're in Vegas, Levi and I, for Fight Week, we're going to have some time to talk through all that and make a game plan and, excuse me, fam, and just to see what works. But look, our baby podcast is, it might be learning to crawl a little bit. We're not, I wouldn't say we're walking, but I think we're learning to crawl a little bit, and it's exciting. And I got to have a shout out to the strikers in Power Slap and all that they've done, with their time. Being a striker, I don't think it gets talked about enough. They do a lot of shit for free. They really do. And when I say for free, their time, son, they're so giving with their time. It's actually amazing. And I realize maybe it's a give and take. Obviously we're here to stay, and there's a few others that are here to stay, and they do a great job as well. But they still need to take their time and give that to you and help promote this thing. And they don't have to do that. They can say, forget you, I'm out of here, right? But there's a give and take, and without the strikers coming on and being so, giving with their time, then there is no podcast, right? It would just be a quote unquote Thirsty Thursday 2, 3, 4 times a week, which is cool. But let's be honest, the fighters make it fun and they make it real. It gives a podcast, even though our following is a little bit smaller right now. It's interesting. Our following is small, but our views are pretty big. I mean, I think they're big. Our following is 600 and something, whatever, on Instagram. But every week we're reaching, 170,000 organic accounts. And that's all because the strikers are involved. So if any of you guys are listening, shout out to you. You have no idea. I really appreciate all of you coming on, having fun, letting your hair down, so to speak. Sorry for those that don't have much hair. And just having a good time. We still talk about the sport because we love it. But I think we bring a value of, again, we're bringing the happy to the sport. I remember talking to Vern, and he was talking about how he was restoring cars, or I think it was I can't remember if it was a truck or a Mustang, because I restored a Mustang. And so because of the, just the conversation, we got to detour and talk about something he actually has a passion about, not just the sport of power slap. You know what I mean? And I love that. I love diverting and talking about if they have a kid, or if they got a girlfriend, or their family, or just the hobbies that they're into. Top of mind, like Dante, motherfucker was into music, opening up for Waka Flocka, MGK. When Travis Scott was second on the bill, he opened up for him. He wasn't quite Travis Scott, but I that's interesting to me. And so we get to talk about that. And so we don't just have to dial in what's your weight? How do you feel? We ask all those questions because they're important. Especially if they have a fight coming up. It's not just important, it's kind of necessary, right? At the end of the day, we got to promo the shit. But I like it when the conversation derails a little bit. Walls come down, and they can just be them, which is hard to do over Zoom, because in person you kind of can feel the vibe a little bit, and on Zoom you can't really do that as easily. At least I can't do that as easily. And so anytime the conversation derails a little bit in a positive way, I know that we're relating more, and that's part of the fun. And you couple that with the fight game, with them giving their time to be able to get to know them, it becomes this whole thing. And who knew that when we first did the Sweet Talks, on a whim, I was like, well, I don't know what to call it. We'll just call it Sweet Talks. It would become I think I can say this. When we are able to do so, it is a staple in our little world, in our little, niche power slap world. And I think about it getting a little bit bigger. Power slap's always going to be fam. They're the core. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe that turns into something else where it's not so sports related or fight related. I can't imagine it ever not being, because I am a fight nerd, so it wouldn't bother me at all if it stayed kind of fight central. I'm just saying it's fun to realize that people are looking forward to it, and they're getting excited about it just like we are, because it proves that what we're doing is a service to the fighters and the sport. And I say it all the time, I'm just having fun doing this. I was DMing back and forth with Slap News a little bit, Corey and those boys. I don't know who runs your DM, fam, so I don't know who I was talking to. But I was honest with them, and I was just like, look, I barely watch my own stuff because the truth is because I'm so self-critical. I'm just like, let's edit the shit and pump it out. I'm good. I don't want to watch. And that's true across the board. I really don't watch. But when I do, I tune into some of my favorites, and that's kind of that. And it's cool to know that even though it's I'm a little self-critical, or maybe I don't watch everything, we are putting in the love and the fun to something that we have a lot of love for and have a lot of fun with. And it's just to pin this up, right? To wrap this up, I just want to say thanks to everyone who's come on. We're approaching 100 episodes, and to hear the excitement through the DMs, and when the interviews are over, we get to talk. When the walls really come down, they share how they're excited to come on, and that's huge. That's been a big takeaway this past week. Just prepping for the upcoming week with Power Slap 13, reaching out and hustling as much as you can to get as many people on as you can beforehand, and hearing all the positive feedback has been so much freaking fun. And it motivates you to like, okay, what can we do better? How can we make their experience more streamlined? So they're not like, for example, not waiting around to get interviewed, right? Like, how can we get the thumbnails made immediately? So before the card even happens, we have all their interviews out and the promos are already out. So when people are searching for it because the event's getting closer, it's done. There's no like, oh, shit, we didn't get this guy out or this girl out or this out or whatever, and we have to post it anyway and the fight's already passed. That's not terrible because you're still going to put it out because you did it. But what I'm saying is, hearing all that feedback motivates you just to be a little bit better every single time. And I'm excited to be better. And I'm excited to find out what else can we tweak to do even better the next time. So that's that. I don't know. It's funny, shifting gears really quick, this is basically my own selfish project. So I can just gossip about my life and my family. So sometimes I want to share a lot of shit, but I don't know what, like at the end of the day, I don't want to offend like my sisters, for example. Like I don't want to put out there that one of them is pre-diabetic and, she was saying I should get a blood test. And because why would you do that? Why would you do that? Oh, I hit the mic. Oh, I don't know why I think that's so funny. Yeah, so anyway, one of my sisters is pre-diabetic, and it's just, I don't know why I think that's so funny. Because you know what I think it is? Oh, I'm sweating. It's so hot in here. You know why? You know why I think that's funny is, one, it's like such a random thing. Because she's so like thin, and everybody has bad eating habits, so I wouldn't attribute it to that. Every night I go off the rails, son. I do a little cannabis. I'm like, where the hell's the licorice? What are we doing here? Where's my fucking licorice? So I don't know why that was so funny, but it just shows you're getting older, I guess. And like, your body, I mean, shit, look at my dad, right? Like eventually something's going to get us all. But how she put it was just like, I got this, I got that. Okay, now what else could there be? Like she was more, oh, I'm sweating so bad. She was more like annoyed by it than worried, which I think that was the crux. I think that was the crux of the humor. I got a sense of way more annoyance than like, oh, am I going to be okay? You know what I mean? She's like, oh man, another thing, which was so honest and funny. I got to get back to Albuquerque. Moo's like, where are you? And I'm like, well, I didn't know the kids would survive that drive, and they did survive. So I got to get back out there. Once upon a time, I had this deal with my youngest sister that she would buy these concert tickets, totally just a bribe to get me to go out there. Well, and it totally worked. I mean, I'm not saying it wasn't a good idea. But now that the kid is older, Lucas is older, and he's got this cousin he loves to pal around with, I'm like, shit, I can go out there a lot more now, because the dog's going to bark. Hold on, fam. Get out of here. Get out of here. Go down. Go down. Stop it. Go down. Can you believe this is happening? She pokes her way in, like literally pokes her way in with her paw nose to lay by me because, nobody can live without Joe Scott's voice. And now she's barking, ruining the freaking podcast. Well, I'm going to leave it in. You want to know why? This is real talk. This is real life. All right. So, yeah, I need to go to Albuquerque more. Plus, And we got Chelsea and John out there. We can have some like dinners. Maybe we can go rage. And Cynthia, who knows what the hell she's doing? I see her like once a month. I should probably text her more, but I'm sure she's great. She's doing like a big vacation, so that's cool. You know, we grew up Mormon, and when people ask me, I still say, "Yeah, I'm Mormon," because I don't know, I didn't like, you know. Anyway, so it's a big thing in Mormon culture, as it is in other religious cultures. But in Mormon culture, it's a big thing to like go back east because there's like a lot of history, you know, in New York, Illinois. What's another one, fam? Connecticut. There's just like a bunch of Mormon history there, like where they jailed up Joseph Smith and fucking killed him. And when yo, I'm tweaking. I love it. Quick side note to any of Lucas's friends' parents that might be listening to this, just know your kids are in good hands. We're good people. Don't judge it by this guy's mouth. I'm the Mormon with a mouth, motherfucker. Deal with it. Love you, but you got to deal with it. So anyway, she's taking this trip back east, which actually is probably like a good time. I mean, I don't know. It's hard to tell. You know, I think she'd rather go to like France or something and eat pastries. But what do I know? I'm just the brother. Yeah, man. Other than that, things are kind of rolling along. Like I said, education, fight week. It's been an intense, fun week. And dude, I know I said it at the beginning, but I'm so happy that education stuff is over with. Oh my gosh. It's funny. The thing that freaks you out the most, I think there's some truth in this. It's all over Instagram, motivational reels, things like that. But I think there's some truth. If you want to do something and it scares the life out of you, I think you got to do it, you know? And I think the education and all that, it wasn't, this is my opinion as the husband. It wasn't like Allie's scared of what people will think. I mean, if any of you out there that have built a business on social media, you've definitely seen it all. Like the comments, the anger, the hate, the jealousy, the lies. Like it's kind of dark. I don't think that's going to bother her. I think what was freaking her out was, you know, what if you actually get what you want? What if it actually does work the way you kind of deep down know it's going to? I think that was the fear, because it's like anything else, right? It's fun to talk about and it's fun to like say we're going to do these things and all that kind of stuff. You know, I've talked about it in business. It's so fun to talk and talk and talk until you get to the edge of the cliff. Very few people jump off. And I think it was so, again, my opinion, I think she was so freaked out that when she jumped off this metaphorical cliff for this new phase in her career, just the fact that it really could be something huge, you know, like not just it'll be a cool product and we'll sell a little bit of it and, you know, we'll have this thing and it'll be an accomplishment. Like it really could be a huge deal. And I think that was overwhelming for her. And now all that's, you know, locked in and gone now. So we can just focus on that, just growing it. Man, what are we talking about here? Killing Joseph Smith, French pastries, back to education. It's hot in here. Someone's pre-diabetic. Oh, dude, my dad. I had to watch him. And he sat me down, son. He sat me down and he was like, you got to watch out for those cones because they come out of nowhere. And I was like, that's good to know. And then he stood up, turned around and looked out the front window. And he actually came back for a bit. He was like, come check out these squirrels. They just run around eating our bird food. And I was like, yeah, that's cool. And he goes, no, look. And he's like actually looking at me and talking to me. And I was like, oh shit. Yeah. So I look out the window. I'm like, yeah, look at those squirrels just eating your bird food. And he just laughs. He's got this laugh where he like kind of leans his head back a little bit and like claps. He like did that. So that was fun. But watch out for the cones. The message this week from Pops is watch out for the cones because they just evidently they're around and they're not like they're bad news. So don't do the cones. Their dog my mom and dad's dog broke her leg or something, and she's walking around in a cast. And the reason why that's funny is because the dog is in a cast and the dog is blind. And so, hold on, I need a sip. Dude, this podcast is not for anybody but everyone in the Scott family. Any strikers out there listening to this, God bless you. God bless you. Yeah, the dog's fucking blind and it has like a busted leg now, and so it's just walking around blind, whimpering. It's so sad. It's legit so sad. Oh man. All right, fam. I think we pretty much covered it all this week. A lot of busyness, a lot of stress, a lot of risk taking, but I am super excited for Fight Week to get here. I'm going to be in Vegas literally for a full week. Timmer isn't coming, but we got Lucas's cousin to pal around, which was good because for a second there, we thought Allie was going to have to go back to the room while I went and did the after party stuff. And, you know, I would have done it, but let's be honest. All of you guys that have been with us at these events, you know that I like Allie right by my side. So I'm glad she can do that. And Tiny Niece is coming. Hey, fan, you're going to meet Tiny Niece. Her name's Gwynnie. She's super tiny. She's my niece. And she'll be able to get to see why Power Slap is the most incredible thing ever. Right? Okay. Thanks for joining me, or us, or whatever the hell. Let's take one last sip, and then let's get out of here. All right. Until next time, fam.